Well, good afternoon everyone. Mike here in Chef Grey Cat's Kitchen. Sorry I haven't posted in a while, but the chemotherapy really did a number on me, and for the last 10 days I've been barely able to move. Anyway, today is Saturday, the Halloween, and I realized this morning I didn't have any bread. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make a quick, what I call American French bread. Very easy to do, but the main thing is that you follow the ingredient amounts very closely. Now what we have here is I have 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I have just under 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. We have 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of yeast, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and here I have 1/4 cup of warmed water. It's at about 112 degrees with 1 tablespoon of honey in it. That's going to be our blossom mixture for the yeast, and along with the sugar. I will add the sugar now. The brown sugar is in there. Now I'm going to add the yeast. And we'll give it a nice stir. And let that blossom over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Yeast loves sugar, but it's temperature sensitive, so you need to keep it on the warm side, but never near boiling. Okay, I'm going to let this yeast rise, and then I'll be back and we'll start to make the bread. And this is, by the way, a very easy recipe. You can get perfect results just about every time as long as your yeast is active. And in the meantime, I'll let you guys go. Okay, we're back. It's been about 8-9 minutes, and as you can see, we've got a beautiful blossom on our yeast. It loves the honey, and the reason I use brown sugar instead of white sugar is just for a little bit of extra flavor in the French bread. So what we're going to do is incorporate our 3 1/4 cups of flour. And we'll make we're going to add our salt. Always add the salt to the flour, never to your blossom of yeast. Yeast does not like salt. It gets killed by salt. Okay, so we've incorporated that. I've made a little well at the center here. And now I'm going to pour in our yeast mixture. Oh, that is so nice and thick. And again, I hate to waste. You all know that. And if I'm a little laborious in my breathing, it's simply because I'm still suffering side effects from the chemo. Hopefully it's going to get better as the days go forward. And I'll be able to get surgery soon. Okay, we've got that mixed in. Last thing I'm going to do is drizzle the oil around. Like I said, it's just under 1/4 cup. What I did is I kept it about 1/4 of an inch below the top rim, which would be a full 1/4 cup. Now, we'll put our dough hook on. Down and lock, and we're going to stir it on speed 2 for a few minutes. We'll get all those incorporated And the main thing about making homemade bread is patience. Again, don't add or change things because you think it looks funny at the beginning. If you follow directions and keep the ingredients the exact same measurements, this will turn out perfect for you every time. Okay, now I'm going to add the 2 cups of water. Or excuse me, 1 cup of water. Alright, see, I moved the camera a bit, so I'll move it back. And I'm just going to knock the flour from the sides of the bowl. And there we go. I warmed the water up, the 1 cup of water up to about 110 degrees, just so I could give a little bit of a kickstart to the rising process. The rising process here is not very long. It's 18, 20 to 25 minutes maximum. You'll see that we pull our dough and shape it before we do a first rise. We're basically doing 1 single rise on this loaf. And this will work out to be about 2 12 to 14 inch loaves. So now that we've got it mixing nicely and kneading, do the last scrape of the sides. And now we're going to let the mixer do its magic. So, on speed 4, I'm going to let the KitchenAid run for about 8 minutes to knead everything into a perfect consistency. I am not going to mess with it. I'm not going to add anything to it or mess with it in any way. And this is what makes the perfect loaf, patience. So, I'll see you back here in about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, it's been just over 8 minutes, so we'll pull our dough. Ah, beautiful. Just about got every single drop off of here. And yeah, this is perfect. Down onto our clean and sanitized countertop. Gonna give it a little hand knead here. Doesn't need much. And I'm gonna cut it into 2 sections because I'm making 2 loaves. Set one aside. Now you could flour your surface here, but mine just tends to be pretty good for non-stick, so I'd rather not deal with all the flour everywhere. And again, good old trusty rolling pin. By giving it all that time to mix in the blender, it allows the gluten to form, gives you a nice doughy French bread. Okay, now mine's about 4 by 12 on this rectangle here. Basically, I am just going to fold it into itself like this. Hopefully you can all see that. Okay, pinch off the ends, fold them underneath. Okay, I'm going to take a little dusting of flour. And I have my trusty pizza stone with a piece of parchment paper on it. And we set it up just like that. So there's our first loaf. Do our second. And I never worry too much about how perfect my loaves look. I care more about how they taste, as well as you should. I do try to square it off so that I get an even roll at the end. Okay. And again, I'm going to fold it into itself. Try to even it out, and onto the parchment paper she goes. Same with this one. Okay, here we have our two loaves. I am now going to score this loaf. And there's nothing better than a nice sharp knife. One day I'll post a video on how to properly sharpen your kitchen knives using a whetstone and a regular sharpening attachment. Okay, that's sitting like that. I'm going to give that about 10 to 15 minutes in the oven, which is not on. I just have the oven light on, so it's nice and warm. Good place to rise. Then we'll come and do it with a egg wash, just to golden it up, and then we'll let it rise a little bit more. But for now, we're just going to put this in the oven. It's on a piece of parchment paper on a baking stone, and I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and I pulled it out of my basically lamp heated oven. Now I'm looking for my trusty brush. Okay, what I've done is I've beaten one egg white with 1 tablespoon of water and a dash of salt, and now I'm just going to liberally brush the top. And what this does is it gives it a nice golden appearance when it's finished cooking, and it also helps provide a little bit of a crispy crust, and it also, with that crispy crust, it allows the bread to stay fresher by a day or two. It won't dry out as quickly. And I do apologize for my speech, but the chemo has destroyed my gums and my teeth, and I can't get any work done on them till I'm cured, so finding that sometimes a little difficult to speak properly because my teeth are now all out of whack from the stripping of calcium that chemo causes. Anyway, it is what it is, and I'll do whatever I gotta do to beat this stupid cancer. So, okay, now we've got nicely basted. We're gonna put it back in that lamp warmed oven for another at least 10 minutes. We'll look at it. and then we'll proceed to the baking stage. Again, I want to give a shout out to all the nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals, policemen, all those doing their jobs to basically keep us safe during this pandemic. This pandemic is real. I know of people that have died of it back in my home state of New Jersey from years ago. And everybody stay safe. I'll talk to you in a few minutes, and we'll see you then. Okay, we're back. It's been another 10 minutes. Been in the oven with just the light on. I'm going to pull these out and show you what they look like. Okay, our rise is done. Now I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And I'll see you when we finish the bake. I'll put them in once the oven is preheated. And you can see what they look like now, and then we'll see what we look like then. Alright, see you in a bit. Well, here's the final outcome. Probably let it go 2 or 3 minutes too long. It's not golden, it's a little bit brown, but it's still very flavorful inside, and it's going to be soft. And there you have it. It's very easy to do. The reason I overcooked it was because of trick-or-treaters ringing the doorbell looking for free candy. I should have given them free bread. Anyway, love to you all. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll have enough energy to do the Alfredo and homemade pasta. Show you how to make beautiful Italian pasta with a true American type of homemade Alfredo sauce. Everybody have a good evening. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Mike. Bye-bye.